looking at a player to try and sort of get out of those lowest of lows, it's got to be Misty. Walcott and Fiber have looked pretty consistent, but as we get into game number 1 here, I think it's going to be a telling one. What type of Walcott, what type of Fiber, what type of Misty we get. If they're not ready today, they might just get surprised because all of a sudden, Forkidden have got game number 1 underway and have got a chance to upset Direwolves.
And here's the interesting thing as well, I feel, when you sort of highlight players like Fiber, players like Misty, who is going to go ahead and get our first goal of the series. I feel as if they're in a position, too, where they are fighting to achieve what could be for them is that unknown. Walcott, the only player on this squad who does have that lane experience, maybe has a deeper understanding of what's at stake. Perhaps that can almost alleviate the nerves a little bit from Fiber, from Misty. How can you know what you're missing out if you've never tasted it to begin with?
That's kind of the truth at this point here, is that, well, we're not really sure what either one of these teams is capable of yet. Again, we're early into the season here, only 2 regionals in. The reality is we've got plenty more even after this split. So this is one of these things where I want to see a rivalry build here. It does kind of feel like it's starting to build, but we've got a couple other ones also starting to blossom. So Direwolves and Forkidden at this point, it's a chance for Forkidden to really cement themselves as that rival to Direwolves. But first, they need to get a goal, because all of a sudden, Direwolves are outpouring shot after shot. They've already got the lead a minute into this one. They find another goal here. This might be a rough series for Forkidden.
I don't want to go too deep into how rough the series may or may not be just yet, although I do like that point you made about the building of rivalries and how things are still early in the season, because as these teams discover themselves, absolutely, we're gonna see matchups happen on a consistent basis. At the moment, Forkidden, probably not the team that Direwolves is looking at as their immediate rival. I mean, we did just have an entire video package about Direwolves versus Riot. I feel the 2 teams that are tied might be more at odds. Of course, we could be seeing that match if Direwolves take care of business here and Riot gets that little bit of an upset in the near future. You do need to take advantage, though, of the situation in front of you. Direwolves, they still need to get past Forkidden, and at the moment, Direwolves, they do seem like the team a bit more in control.
They came out the gates firing. Something that we don't always see from Direwolves is that utmost confidence in the start of a game. Like we mentioned before, they're a team that kind of runs with momentum, so when they don't necessarily have a start they're looking for, it can leave them in a pretty detrimental position. This time I was going to say they did not do that. A miss there almost left them in a pretty bad position, but luckily enough they won't get scored on. But yeah, Direwolves looking strong out the gates here, something we don't always see from the team, and that man in particular I think is really part of the reason. Walcott just guns a-blazing into this one. Not usually a player that is this aggressive. To see him with this much ferocity, I think that Walcott wants that semifinal spot.
I absolutely believe it, and we're seeing a Walcott playing similarly to how he actually approached Team Bliss. Walcott was the one who was constantly in the midfield challenging them, was the one who was looking to take advantage of the situations where Bliss sometimes looked a bit uncomfortable. So to see that same mentality against a team like Forkidden, which is almost a mirror sometimes of that Bliss sort of more wild style, I want to say. It's not too surprising for me. Direwolves, they have this unique ability, and I say unique, realistically, I believe all the top teams have it, where they will adjust their playstyle depending on their opponents. Forkidden, they're very much that individualistic team, a very offense-heavy team, just like what we saw in Bliss before, and as a result, we're seeing a Direwolves team play that similar style, and it's a similar scoreline as well, 1-0. All they need is 1 goal and consistent enough midfield play. They should be able to take this first game.
Oh yeah, absolutely here. With only about 100 seconds left, it's up to Direwolves to just kind of hold on here, and it's been a kind of uneventful game number 1. Aside from that first goal, we haven't really seen a lot of solid shots on target, a lot of just cutouts here in midfield, and just a back and forth game. To be honest, that's probably beneficial to Direwolves here. They don't want to give Forkidden extra momentum and give them that potential to start popping off, because that's kind of how it works for Forkidden, is once they do start to find that more momentum, they just, all 3 of them really do start to pop off.
Exactly. They just need that 1 goal. Scrub might be looking for it here. We'll get one up towards Fiber, who has already found Misty on the pass. The thing as well, though, about this matchup, which is going to be very interesting, is I still consider Direwolves to be a very defensive-focused team, a team that's very comfortable on their own back half, waiting for their opponents to make mistakes. And one of the reasons, perhaps, for the lower-scoring game could be the fact that it's because there hasn't been many mistakes by the Forkidden side, but Forkidden also hasn't been allowed to be as proactive as they would like, and that could be a mistake. Shot from Misty a little bit high.
Just a little bit too high there, but I'm liking the Direwolves here in game number 1. It is not necessarily overwhelming dominance that I think Direwolves are going to need if they want to walk by Forkidden here in this series, but it's definitely a better start for Direwolves than we've seen in previous games here. Sometimes they really do struggle, like we said, to get that gears going and to really get into a series. This time it doesn't seem so, but the unfortunate truth is they're not quite secure yet. 20 seconds left, and all of a sudden Forkidden do have an offense building here. Man ahead, that's a great touch. Can they find a follow-up? They can do. No, they can get a great pass, but it's off target. Forkidden shoot it a little bit wide, and that might be the downfall for them here in this game.
Yeah, 5 seconds remaining. Not too much Forkidden can do on their own back half. We'll look to try to play it through the corner. Have an entire field, though, to go. Super Lucky with possession, boost to play with. Put it a bit too far out in front of themselves, though, and with an easy spike, the Direwolves take game number 1.
That's a pretty good game number 1 for the Direwolves. Like we said, looking a lot more aggressive than we're used to for the team, and that's a huge difference for them. When they played too defensive yesterday, occasionally they did allow too much pressure from their opponents, and eventually they would start to take advantage of that extra airspace and just completely unrelentingly rip shot after shot after shot against Direwolves. You look at this game, there are not a lot of shots. There are 4 total shots on the side of Forkidden. They muted them due to that overwhelming offense that Direwolves showed. This is how Direwolves need to play if they want to win here, Max.
I mean, you're saying overwhelming offense. I look at the touches, though, and I'm a little bit surprised to see Forkidden. They had more touches on the ball. They had more possession as a bit of a result, but it felt as if it was never strong possession as, yeah, we take a look at that one goal. That was such a mistake, I want to say. They were looking for the pass down, not aware where Misty was on the pitch. It turns into that opening goal. That was the difference. Direwolves doing what they do best, capitalizing on a misplay. It's been their bread and butter, and it gave them a Game 1 win.
Yeah, it really did. And again, I have to mention that I think Forkidden just weren't expecting that. For a team that is usually so defensive, to see a challenge out of midfield like that while they're attempting a pass, they just probably didn't expect it. So let's see, can Forkidden try and get a little bit more advantageous here in game number 2? At this point, Direwolves do look strong, but they don't look unbeatable here.
Yeah, they do look... See, again, I don't mean to push back again and again and again, but you're right, they don't look unbeatable, but that's kind of what the Direwolves do best. That's what a lot of the defensive teams in this region do best. They play so comfortably on that back half where you think you have them on the ropes, but in reality, you've kind of just like flown right into the spider's web, or in this case, walked right into the wolf's den. They want to play defense, they want you to overcommit, and then they want to punish you as a result. If that shot's accurate from Walcott, who knows? Maybe it's another quick 1-0 lead, but it comes off of those almost bait and switch type plays.
Yeah, a little bit here, but the good thing, I was gonna say the good thing is that this start of this game looks a little bit more back and forth here, but it is not back and forth. Forkidden find their first goal, and that's just unfortunate for Misty. Doesn't ever get a touch on that, and Walcott was not expecting it.
It looked like Misty was expecting a flick there and tried to pre-jump it and wound up backflipping. I'm not too sure. I mean, Misty was gifted a goal in the first game. Kind of seems fitting that they'll be able to give him back in game number 2. As we look at another Forkidden approach, Scrub unable to get that pinch over the top.
Trying to, but Direwolves at this point, they need to find a quick response. It could have been that. Misty does set up Walcott, but the shot is off target, and Fiber cannot get a touch. Direwolves find their first real offense all game, and Formal, that was definitely not as executed as well as in the first game there. A couple of whiffs and a couple of miscoordinated touches. Direwolves looking a little bit panicked after having a goal scored against them.
Yeah, not the best start for the Direwolves, and Forkidden, they're looking to build off that momentum, I would have to think, although Fiber, given the ball with space, doesn't really put the ball too deep. Super Lucky will try to make the read. Midfield already controlled by Walcott until Bahanahead deals it away, finds Super Lucky on the pass. Not enough power to be a real threat. Back and forth we go. Both teams trying to set up, it looks like, more from the midfield and just giving the opposing defense too much time to react.
Yeah, that's the big thing here, is that the defenses look very comfortable on both sides. And while Direwolves did have a little bit of an inopportune play to start this one off, they're looking a little bit more in control now. But control and defense is one thing. Shots on the other end are another, and they are not finding a lot of those. They're getting cut off by Forkidden before they even get a chance. Speaking of which, Scrub not going to allow that one on target. Maybe Misty can find a drop-down pass. Walcott pops this one up high. I think Fiber was more expecting to commit for that, and as a result, they're not going to continue with the offense. Direwolves looking a really disorganized team as they move into offense right now. It's rather surprising, to be honest, Formal.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I don't think they're as disorganized as things are letting on, but there are those little mistakes, those little miscues on the passes that is costing them a possession or two. Very fortunate for the Direwolves, though. Forkidden, they're also playing a bit further back than we're accustomed to seeing from them. It does seem as if the Forkidden aggressive edge hasn't come to play yet. That's a big dunk from Walcott. Fiber was there. Too much traffic in the way, though, prevents the ball from going through. Misty now has a reset, not quite. Instead, tried to find Walcott. That challenge is run by Forkidden. Shot from Banana Head will be saved by Fiber.
Oh my, Direwolves getting so close to finding that equalizer, but just cannot get a shot on target here. Forkidden, I gotta admit, this is a much better showing from them than I was really expecting. For a team that's usually so volatile, to see them this well balanced this far into a series, I just surprised. Nothing else to really say besides that, but unfortunately for them, they're not quite out of this one yet. With 2 minutes remaining, Direwolves do have plenty of time for a comeback. Matter of fact, they only need one goal, and Misty's looking for that here. Wants the dunk, and will find it! Flip reset to the dunk, and Direwolves will equalize.
Yeah, watch this again. The late flip reset, and then just able to find like a pinch dunk thing over the top of Super Lucky. It wasn't the fastest goal, but it was just enough to get past all three defenders. And there is that pop-off Direwolves play we were waiting to see. There was Misty showing some of the reason why during the offseason they looked so strong. Been waiting for them to show it in RLCS. Perhaps this is the series where Misty comes alive.
Honestly, I've been waiting for Misty in particular to come alive. Like I said, I was watching a lot of the Direwolves yesterday for day one, and he just didn't really look that awake. It was very much Fiber and Walcott controlling that offense. To see Misty really getting involved right now makes me think that Direwolves are starting to understand how Forkidden are playing, and are starting to poke and prod and slowly gain momentum in their favor. Fiber trying to gain a little bit extra with a shot there. No such luck, but this is another offense here. Misty shot kind of on target, I guess, but not really that surprising. But had an easy save. Now with 70 seconds left, this is kind of crunch time here, Formal. The next team to score most likely is taking this game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's almost like a preemptive overtime of sorts. And with 1 minute remaining, it would be a bit devastating for Forkidden to drop 2-0 in this situation. Banana Head's going to look for that pass back. A bit too much juice behind that one, though. And Super Lucky is going to be careful. Surprised Misty didn't follow that up. A lot of respect being shown towards both teams. And by winning that 50, Forkidden back on the hunt. Misty actually went all the way back to their own backboard right there. 40 seconds to go. Direwolves, they're playing defense. Forkidden, they need this go-ahead goal.
They need this game, in my opinion, as well. You don't want to let Direwolves get 2 games on you this early into a series. All of a sudden, you're playing from behind for a majority of the series, and that's just not somewhere they want to be here. So Forkidden, this is an important last 20 seconds. Try and find a shot and prevent an overtime. They will indeed bump on the line, and Forkidden might have found the dagger.
That was a fantastic team play right there. The bump from Scrub, who has consistently been that unsung hero. Well, singing right now after that goal, bouncing up and down. They know how important this game 2 was. They know how much they need to keep even with the Direwolves. 10 seconds to go. Last chance for the Wolfpack to equalize this, and Super Lucky's gonna steal it away. Misty doing what they can to keep the ball on the blue side of the pitch. Follow-up shot, not quite there straight away. Fiber with an opening. Fiber with a strike, but the ball hits the ground, and the Forkidden team ties us up.
Oh my, that got a little bit too close for comfort if you're a Forkidden fan at the end there, but luckily enough, they will hold on, and that player in particular really being the difference. Scrub, that bump on the line quite literally won that game. And I gotta give it to Forkidden for a team who were saying they weren't really looking that aggressive to start off. The fact that they're starting to find those pockets of aggression, I think really did win them that game.
That they were, and we were waiting for Forkidden to kind of take the fight to the Direwolves, and I'm surprised it took them a little bit this long, looking at the Direwolves playstyle coming into the series. Direwolves have been playing so far back, expecting Forkidden to be those aggressors, and it took a little while for Forkidden to be like, oh wait, we can use the middle of the pitch too. We don't have to match their heavy defensive style. We could be that proactive team, and they turned it into a couple quick goals. Very nice game from Forkidden. I do feel that goal from Misty, though, is something that we're going to need to be mindful of moving forwards, because if Misty is playing at that level, when Fiber starts to wake up as well, then the Direwolves will be able to pretty much match that Forkidden mech.
I mean, I like your confidence in saying when Fiber comes live, but we've seen it before. Certain games, Fiber doesn't necessarily pop off like we would expect. I'm hoping he can, because that's by far when the Direwolves are the most entertaining. But in my opinion, if he does not, this could be a series that goes in favor of Forkidden. I think Direwolves need to unleash everything they have got at this team here. They cannot be hiding aces up their sleeve, because unfortunately, you give extra momentum to Forkidden, they start to run away with it.
And here's the player that I think has been stepping up on the Forkidden side. Not Banana Head, not Super Lucky, but it has been Scrub today who has been impressing me the most so far. And it's mostly been through the defense, mostly been through those midfield touches. Scrub has been doing a fantastic job. We even saw it on the bumps, and now Banana Head a chance for the double. Unable to pull it through.
Oh, that would have been a huge first goal for Forkidden, a way to just sort of set the tone here in game number 3. But speaking of setting the tone, how on earth does Banana Head get a save there? Misty sees a gap in the defense and tries to slot one through, but no such luck. Forkidden, you're right, their defense is looking fantastic.
Here's the thing, though. We were talking about setting tones. I was worried right there because the tone that was being set could have been a missed goal, and then an own team bump as Super Lucky actually cleared the way, knocking Scrub out for that Direwolf shot. Very fortunate Banana Head was able to recover, so he stays 0-0 for now. Nice little boost steal from Banana Head as well. Should fizzle this attack. Fiber with no boost to work with. You know, that kind of mitigates your best, star maker on the Direwolf side. Still, though, eventually Fiber does find the boost. We'll take it and steal some away. Needs to race back though and play some defense because Scrub has a shot. Woo! Misty though will come through, clearing the ball to safety.
Oh my, that looked a little bit too close for comfort for Direwolves there. They're waiting till the very last second for a lot of these saves, and I do worry that if they start to give some extra space to Forkidden, they're going to start taking advantage of it. We mentioned this yesterday when I was looking at Direwolves, the fact that they really do like to give a lot of space because of that defensive playstyle, and against certain teams that does work. Against other teams, it just gives them too much space, and all of a sudden they can start making plays. I don't know if Direwolves want to give space to a team like Forkidden. I think they are one of those squads that if you give them the room, they're going to do something spectacular. So far here in Game 3, they have not. We're about 90 seconds into this one, and Direwolves and Forkidden both having chances at net. Yeah. I'm just wondering what's going to break this one here, Formal.
Well, though, usually what would break it in favor of the Direwolves would be Walcott in these types of situations, because it is Misty, it is Fiber who are the ones who like to play back. Walcott is typically who you'll see try to challenge more in the middle of the field and play a bit further forward, I feel like, and be proactive on defense. However, the reason why I think they haven't seen too much of it, I'm going back to Scrub and Scrub's positioning and how annoying Scrub has been against the Direwolves so far in this series. We kind of saw a little bit of it in the corner right there. We saw more of it in game number 2 where Scrub was winning a lot of those midfield challenges. So if we're going to see Walcott start to pop up, well, first we're going to see Fiber go for the dunk off of the reset and not quite get it.
Ooh, Fiber starting to feel himself a little bit here. Misty still taking it to the corner and trying to drag it through there. He found success in the first game, second game, so he's definitely going to look for it again. But I think Direwolves need to get a little bit more creative. Like we said, the defense from Forkidden has shut them down pretty much every time. That's because they keep trying the same plays over and over. If you want to get through this Forkidden defense, you got to get a little bit creative, and we're not quite seeing that yet. As a result, also, they're going to get some pressure on the other end. Direwolves, that's a little bit surprising. No one home for the shot.
Yeah, Scrub just able to put one on target before Super Lucky secures it. Yeah, that was all Super Lucky there, Bass. Nothing to do with Scrub, who I've been singing the praises of. Just getting that goal stolen away. I don't think Forkidden cares. They look at that. They look at a 1-0 lead. They have a chance right now to go up in this series.
I think this is a big game right now for Forkidden. They want to set the tone, and like we said, get that momentum in their favor. They're a team that runs off of confidence, and if they can find some confidence early in the front half of this series, it would be massive for them against a team like Direwolves. Unfortunately, it's not going to be that easy. Direwolves are not going to give up by any stretch of the imagination. They have that never say die attitude and the resiliency to let them battle against pretty much any team in this region. But right now, they've got one team they've got to battle. 100 seconds left here in Forkidden, have the 1-0 lead. Well, maybe Fiber can change that up. Flick up high, Walcott gets the dunk, but is there a shot? No such luck. Super will clear this one out to midfield, but Direwolves looking threatening on offense right now.
Yeah, Direwolves definitely looking for that chance. Ball off the backboard. Walcott is there, posted in. Direwolves tie up this game.
Oh my, you saw this building here, same way we saw the Forkidden offense building. This was just a slow burn. Direwolves waiting for that opportunity, and when it arrives, Walcott will strike off the post and in, and Max, we've got a series on our hands.
We do have a series. I'm still not sure the Direwolves are looking their best. I'm being more and more convinced by your arguments before that there might be an injured hind leg or something with this team. And I'm starting to think of the reasons why. And let's go back to the nerves discussion. Let's go back to the implications discussion. Forkidden, they don't really have any downsides in the series. They lose this one, okay, they're still a top 8 team. They've been consistently there. They're still building for the future. Misty, though, recognizes we need this win if we want any chance to have a LAN during the fall split, and gets a big go-ahead goal.
Heck, I don't even want them to just get to the LAN. I want to see the Riot Direwolves semifinals, man. That would be incredible here. But the reality is first Direwolves need to try and tackle Forkidden. It's a fantastic second goal, but with a minute left, they are not quite secure here, especially with Banana Head already ripping shots on target. Scrub will try and be there for the follow-up, but Walcott, that's a fantastic touch. Not necessarily on the follow-up, as it's going to lead to another offense here. Scrub still trying to go for those bump plays, so I think we're starting to see a pattern here. Forkidden really feeling physical today.
Yeah, that they are, and it's definitely throwing the Direwolves off kilter right now. 30 seconds to go. Open net the other way. Fibers there, and the Direwolves will put game 3 away with a comfortable 3-1 lead.
Woo, you are confident in this one, not having a comeback here. I'm not going to count Forkidden out because, like we said, they have that pop-off potential. If they get 2 good kickoffs in a row, all of a sudden we could see an overtime. But I am leaning towards Direwolves taking this third game. And this is rather impressive considering the fact that we came into this game, Forkidden was looking pretty strong, and then all of a sudden, Direwolves get 3 goals. The turnaround from this team, it really does emphasize that never say die attitude.
It does, absolutely, and that's always been a team that has had that attitude. I don't have the stat on my hand, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure the Direwolves had the most reverse sweeps during RLCS X. They always seem to have that comeback gene in them. It's why I always consider them to be such a momentum-based team, and how that one big goal can turn things around. I do believe that one big goal happened during that last game, even though they lost it. Misty's play in front of the net did seem to give them some life. Now, are they at full strength? No, not yet. Forkidden is doing enough offensively and enough physically to keep them off balance. But when those openings present themselves, Fiber's already down the pitch, and you know that pass is going to connect. The Direwolves back in control of this quarterfinal series.
Yeah, this was a very different game for the Direwolves overall here, and it really does sort of show when you look at the stat line here. Score in favor of them, goals in favor, assists, saves, shots, everything but I think demos were basically in favor of Direwolves there. And that tracks considering the fact that it does sort of seem like Forkidden are going for a physical play style. Like we said, they're going to be looking for those demos and bumps pretty much the whole day. But the other reason I think Direwolves won this is that adaptability. We said they weren't finding effectiveness moving into that final third, so when they switched that up, all of a sudden they looked like a very threatening team.
That they did, and it was a good time to turn things around. Now, for Forkidden, though, if they want to get back on top of the Direwolves, I do feel they need to match the pace. That has been the big difference, and I think that's where we saw the biggest turnaround. The Direwolves almost shifted into that next gear. They're playing a little bit further back, I feel, sometimes on the attack, and a little bit further forward sometimes when on defense. Forkidden needs to match that. They need to make sure they keep sealing those boosts away, keep control of that midfield as much as possible, and don't let the Direwolves use what is by far their most important resource. Because we saw in Game 2 what happens when Fiber doesn't really get all the boost that they need to make that plays. The entire team feels a little bit sluggish, and they look a little bit more vulnerable. So, for Forkidden, keep up that tempo. We saw them getting to it at points during the third game, but it was never consistently there. If they can keep that aggressive edge, if they can keep up that high speed, I think Forkidden can easily take a game back.
I like that word you used there, consistency. It's the reason why we've had a lot of questions around this Forkidden team is because they are young, and this is their, I'm not going to say their first full split, but it is one of these things where they're really starting to pop up on the map now and make a name for themselves here in this split.
Yes.
So I'm hoping in the future we see them with a little bit more of a back and forth. Right now they're still in this one. We're only in game number 4, and they are only down by a singular game. But I dare say, if they don't win this one formal, this series might already be over.
Yeah, this is going to be a very important series for Forkidden if they want to get this quarterfinal, but I want to talk more about what you were hinting at. Like, this is still a team building itself for its future. They're a young team. They're still gelling with each other again after having some time apart, and Walcott is just going to go ahead and escort that goal in. All right. Well, Walcott's got some synergy with the ball, apparently, and making defenses look silly. All three defenders had a chance, and no one could even get a lick of it.
No, Walcott, that is not allowed. We don't condone bullying. These are children at this point, my friend. You have to let them down lightly, and that was not letting them down lightly at all. That was slamming that on top of them, just dismantling that defense. All right, well, yeah, I think we know what Direwolves we're seeing today. All three players are starting to feel themselves, and they are popping off. Misty not able to rip that one on target. But the fact we're getting shots like that out of Direwolves, they have come alive here, Formal.
Yeah, they're starting to feel a lot better about themselves. So just want to point out, Walcott being the one to try and step up and make plays happen. That's kind of what I'm expecting in this series, in this matchup. The one player with that LAN experience, the one player who knows what it means to get there, stepping up and showing, hey, we still have that fighting chance. Now Scrub, a bit of fight for themselves. To briefly go back to that previous point, though, because I want to finish it, this idea for Kid and building for their future. It's how come we still can't really write them off, because they're not going to have those same pressures that players like Fiber or Misty might have in this series. They understand, you know, this fall split might not have been our time, but how great would a semifinal be for them in building towards that winter split, in building towards that spring split, trying to establish themselves as that next top 4 team? It would be a fantastic head start.
It would be massive for them, but I do think they need to be realistic here. The reality is that during the offseason, a lot of these teams came training and getting ready for this RLCS season. Direwolves are one of those teams, and as much as I do believe Forkidden can beat them, if Direwolves are playing at the level we've seen Direwolves play, it's going to be difficult. But again, that's sort of why we emphasize the future for this team more than anything else. I think they're going to be one of the top contenders when it comes winter and spring. I don't think that they're going to be able to really battle it out here today in the fall, but, you know, give them some time. They're a very young team. Like we said, the oldest one on there is 16 years old. If I knew how I was going to be playing at a professional level at 16, I'd probably have a very different life at this point here, Formal. So give the kids some time. They're going to have plenty of improvements from here on out. I'm not worried one bit, but maybe a bit worried today.
But here's one thing that kids lack: patience.
True.
They don't want to wait. You get patience with time as you grow older. For Kidden, I think they want that semifinal now. We saw that when Scrub got the bump before, how excited they were, how motivated they were. But speaking of bumps, this one will lead to another Forkidden goal as they tie the series up.
I mean, I would say one-trick pony at this point, but like if the one trick is working well and the judges continue to give it a 10, why would you switch up that trick at this point? Scrub basically just needs to go to the backboard and wait for someone to try and defend, and then he'll bump them out of oblivion. Fantastic play to Forkidden. They get themselves back into this game, but again, I do worry if they're going to continue to play with the same play style. Are they going to find the same success? They will. It's not going to be a bump play this time, but it's still a goal for Forkidden.
Yeah, Banana Head with a big demo does enough to throw Walcott off, and Scrub in the right place at the right time. The most consistent member of Forkidden today thus far, I have to say, does make it a 2-1 lead, and Forkidden must-win game, must-win situation. They're out in front.
It's a very surprising performance from Scrub here, not because of the fact that he is playing well, but just because we're not really seeing the other two players pop off here at this point. Speaking of pop-off, no way! Walcott tries to recover after the save and pinch that into the net. No such luck, but you know what? Never mind. Forget me highlighting Forkidden. We have to keep highlighting Direwolves, dude. What are they on today? They look insane!
You say that, but it was the Forkidden defense that came out on top. Both these teams definitely elevating their mechanics as the series moves forward, keeping themselves in that right spot. Walcott, another chance. Awkward touch from the defense. Banana Head there to bail Forkidden out. 1:20 to go. 2-1, and Walcott will find the equalizer off the post and in. The Direwolves bite back.
All right, overtime. I want to see it. These two teams have been battling it out so incredibly close the entire time. It is only right if we get one golden goal scenario here. We might already be in that golden goal scenario. You never really know. With only about 80 seconds left, Direwolves or Forkidden, the next team to score, might just take this game. And if it's Direwolves, they might move on to series point.
Eyes are going to be on Walcott, I have to believe, has been stepping up majorly within these past couple games. Banana Head, though, will find that first deeper clear, read by Fiber, who might try to make something happen. Unable to find the dunk on Super Lucky. That gives Banana Head a weaker pinch as the ball gets away from the Forkidden side. Under a minute to go now. Direwolves should be setting themselves up for something a bit more sustained. Pass down from Fiber, a bit too premature. Misty won't have the read. Walcott in the middle of the pitch, though. Name a more iconic duo. How about Walcott setting up the rest of the team? Does find Misty across, but the Direwolves are still feeling out their opponents. They haven't committed to anything yet till Fiber may have seen an opening. Does find Super Lucky on the backboard.
It's a lot of pressure for Direwolves here, though. They're building an offense and just kind of waiting for that golden opportunity. With only about 25 seconds left, that's all they really need is one more good chance. They'll even let Forkidden move all the way out to midfield here, but Misty on the side, I thought should be able to keep that offense going, but not quite able to. An unfortunate touch, and what just happened there? Fiber with a backflip that I think has left the team kind of exposed. This one finds the back of the net. Direwolves crack during the last 10 seconds and give away this 2-2 scoreline.
What just happened there? That touch from Banana Head probably should have been safe, but it was a misread off the backboard. An uncharacteristic defensive mistake from the Direwolves may have just cost them this fourth game. 6 seconds on the clock. A chance for something crazy. Misty does get to the ball first, but in the middle of the field, Scrub's already there. Shots on target. Banana Head bashes it through. A nice little pancake to end it off. Banana pancakes, quite tasty this time of the year, as Forkidden takes our fourth game.
And there we go. We're all evened up yet again here. Direwolves not quite able to find that momentum during the last minute of that game. We saw this a lot yesterday where they started to just kind of throw everything at offense and their defense would start to break down because of it. I'm hoping this doesn't become a trend for them because, again, both these teams really do run with momentum. And if Direwolves start to have momentum go too far out of their favor, this could be a rough series for them.
It very well could, but we can't be saying whoever wins that last game is going to take it all. We need to recognize what's actually happening on the pitch right now. It's been a back and forth affair. Both these teams have had their highs. They've had their unforced errors as well. And I really feel at this stage, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Direwolves again try to slow the pace down. The problem is, I don't know if that's going to work against Forkidden. I think Forkidden, when they do feel themselves, they want that fast pace, and if you slow it down, it's just going to invite them closer to you. So there's going to be a lot of pressure moving forward for the Direwolves to make sure that they can keep the ball under control when pressured, when you have opponents in your face. Because Forkidden, if I were them right now, if I were coaching them and telling what to do, I would be saying keep up this physicality, keep up the pressure, don't give the Direwolves any space, shorten the field, and keep the momentum as fast as possible.
100%, because Direwolves, a team that are usually pretty confident on defense, but they seem to have found their kryptonite here. It's that physicality. Direwolves, a team that play patiently, aren't really expecting you to just straight up get in your face and just, you know, give them a quick 1-2 there. It's not really a boxing match at this point as much as it is Forkidden just kind of going at them randomly while Direwolves are just trying to dodge every single attack. It's a really weird back and forth here, but the reality is it is a back and forth. I don't know who's walking away with them with this one at this point. It really does feel like both teams are starting to find their form. This next game is going to be pretty telling, in my opinion, Formal.
And I don't mean to sound like a broken record in situations like this. However, these are the situations where you would want to lean on experience, where you'd want to lean on that cool, calmer head. And so my eyes have to go with probably the only calm player on the pitch right now. I think Walcott's age is probably double the age of everyone else on the pitch combined at this stage. He's the one who I'm going to be looking at. The team dad needs to come through and chaperone his kids to the semifinal.
The team dad, I think Walcott's like 24. You've never made me feel older in my 20s in my life at this point, Formal. But to be honest, when I'm not scoring goals like this while I'm 22, you can understand why I'm feeling like this. Misty putting some youth into the pitch.
Yes, Misty was the one who, Super Lucky's gonna feel a little silly after that one. Really unfortunate placement right there. That ball could have been cleared pretty much anywhere else and it wouldn't have been a goal, but Super Lucky, wrong place, wrong time. 1-0 lead for the Direwolves.
Hey, listen, man, a lead is a lead, and for the Direwolves right now, who need some momentum in their favor, they're looking for whatever can help them out. This isn't really going to help them out if they start to get pressed into their own half again. Again, Forkidden really have had the ability to make them look so uncomfortable on defense, and a lot of teams can't really do that. Now, speaking of uncomfortability on defense here, Direwolves pressing into Forkidden's half, and it's been booming clear after booming clear. They look very uncomfortable right now.
They are looking a bit shaken, that is for sure. Forkidden might be able to bounce back from this one. I like this challenge. I do like the follow-up from Banana Head as well, trying to keep that ball in front, but a delicate touch from Fiber with a follow-up banger. Nearly puts it through. Walcott now open net. That's going to be in. 2-0 lead for the Direwolves.
This is all Fiber in my opinion there. Muscles through the first 50, puts a shot up high, knows it's probably not hitting the back of the net, but he at least forces Scrub into an awkward enough position that a follow-up can't arrive. Direwolves look like they're starting to find the rotation again, and that's something that's a little bit different from the beginning of this series. We saw a lot of solo plays from pretty much every player on the team. To see them with two basically passing plays in a row makes me think they're starting to find a strategy on offense, and that strategy has led them to a 3-goal lead.
We've seen this happen to Forkidden in the past, where everything is looking so good, and then all of a sudden, you blink, and the team is falling apart at the seams. No one even remotely nearby the ball on defense for that play. Misty just has to drive one straight down the center. Very similar to the failed backboard read we saw in the second goal as well. These nets are far too open for a team that specializes in punishing your positional mistakes. The Direwolves now with a very comfortable 3-goal cushion.
Look incredibly comfortable all around. I think that's probably the best word we can use at this point, because that's just how they're operating here. There is no panic from the Direwolves side. Like, look at that. Misty's on the backboard, but he knows Walcott's going to get there in time, so he does not even go for it. The communication amongst this team, the 3-man rotations they are operating with, really are propelling them to this victory here in game number 5, but I'm not going to guarantee it's a victory quite yet. With 3 minutes remaining in a Forkidden that really do have that pop-off potential we've been talking about all night, I will never count them out of a game like this. That being said, I do want to see a goal. They need something to just give them that spark of life right now.
Super Lucky nearly found that angle there. Unfortunately for the Forkidden side, was a bit too high and wide and wound up right in possession of Fiber. Clear back the other way. We'll set up Walcott for the lob shot. Super Lucky forced in an awkward position. However, expecting the touch, Walcott unable to make the read off the, I'm going to call it a fake this time around. Forkidden, time working against them in game number 5. Still not really their best showing, though. We know what this team can pull. The question is, can they get physical again? Because it seems like for a majority of this 5th game, the Direwolves, they've just been given so much space.
I was just about to mention that at this point. It really does feel like the Direwolves now are kind of controlling this pace of play, and beyond just controlling the pace of play, they're controlling when Forkidden are challenging here. Let's just count for a second. It's been about 4 seconds here when someone from Forkidden got a challenge. It took about 7 seconds at this point. And in a 5-minute game, you can't really allow that much time before someone approaches here. Yes, Walcott doesn't get a touch here, but he's pressuring Shrub from behind, and we're just not seeing that. When Direwolves get to the air right now, it feels like Forkidden are a little bit trigger shy here. They don't want to be beat because of those counterattacks, and it's costing them a lot of offense.
Well, that's also going back to what happened in between the games, where I was saying Direwolves are probably going to want to slow the pace down a bit. They have been able to do that, and I was expecting Forkidden's responsibility to play forward and challenge them, but it seems like Forkidden may have gotten a bit too used to the faster paced play that they were actually expecting the Direwolves still to be coming at them, and their hesitation at times, their inability to sort of slow down but still stay within the nucleus of the ball has held them back a bit, and the end result has been the Direwolves with these open pitches and more space to play with. They turned that into 3 quick goals. Since then, the game has slowed down even further at this stage. There's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of clear for clear, but that's all good for the Direwolves. If they can focus more on their own back half, it's going to be that much more difficult for Forkidden. Cheeky second touch right there, nearly does get through, but as we hit our final minute of play, the Direwolves, this has to be their most comfortable win yet.
Oh, come on, Forkidden. At that point, you're down 3-0 with 50 seconds left. Just let the goal go in. It was so pretty. Come on, now you can't play spoiler like that. Doesn't matter because, oh, Fiber. I was hoping you'd have another highlight play there. No such luck, but Direwolves, the fact they're even going for plays like that just goes to show you how much confidence they have in the team right now. They feel comfortable. This is by far the best win Direwolves are going to take this entire series so far here, and I am going to say this is going to be a win. With only about 30 seconds left and Forkidden that have not found the back of the net yet, I would be rather surprised if they find it 3 times in a row with only 20 seconds.
No, it's not going to happen, not this time around. I would like to remind everyone, though, every single game thus far has been alternating teams finding victory. So if you're walking away from Game 5 thinking, oh, Direwolves, they look in control, everything's going their way, they've got this series down packed right now. I need to remind you, we kind of felt the same after the first game. Not as much after the third game, but after both of those, Forkidden were able to bounce back. So to call this series here, not ready yet. Direwolves still need to take care of business one more time.
I would agree with you on this one. I don't think we're at the end of this series quite yet here. I predicted before this that we'd go to at minimum 6 games. We're at that 6th game. I think we're going to see a 7th. But if we do want to see a 7th, I think that Forkidden need an early goal. When we look back at the replays here, it's going to be rather telling. I want to see when that first Direwolves goal was, because it felt like as soon as they did get that goal, they kind of just piled on the pressure and eventually took their foot off the gas. But by the time they did so, Forkidden were already out of the race.
And it's not just that as well. Because of the slower pace, Forkidden was never really able to meet the Direwolves more towards that middle of the pitch. And the end result was a situation where they weren't as physical overall. Only 1 demo during Game 5, when in the past they were getting about 3 or 4, it felt like. Obviously, that own goal at the very start of the game didn't help their mental, that you would have to assume. And perhaps that's kind of what caused the snowball against them. However, if Forkidden can get physical again, if they can continue to play tight and not give the Direwolves space like we see Walcott have right here, they're going to have a much better outing. Hopefully, they'll be able to find that aggressive edge once more.
I think that they're going to be able to here. The reality is that we saw in the replay, 25 seconds into it, an own goal. That is by far the worst way you can start off a game, and it's really going to drain any momentum you think you might have, any confidence as well. So, Forkidden, just try and calm your nerves here. I know it's a big stage, and it's a really unfortunate place. It's the difference between a couple $1,000s and a couple thousand more, almost doubling your amount, basically, here. So, you know, just take this game by game. Take a quick, deep breath, understand where you are at, and understand you can beat this team. I talk about this a lot. You have to believe you can beat your opponents in order to win against them, and Forkidden, they need to believe that if they want to win against Direwolves.
Yeah, I mean, again, I want to go back how huge this would be for Forkidden if they were to get themselves back in a top 4 position. Not necessarily for the fall split, but moving ahead into the future. Will they see themselves in the winter split? And where they're seeing themselves right now is a quick kickoff goal. Super Lucky making it 1-0.
I asked for a quick goal. They delivered a quick goal. Forkidden, this is how you put yourselves on the best foot forward. Get yourselves into a game, into a series after a rough loss. Direwolves, not necessarily the start they were looking for here, but the good thing is they've got about 4 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock to try and find a comeback. And Direwolves, like we said, that never say die attitude really is epitomized by this team.
I still have been in love with Scrub's positioning and play during this series. That dribble creates an offensive opportunity. Now the pass back over to Banana Head was a bit too far in front of them. Actually looked to go for a free after pre-jump bump on Fiber. Doesn't work, and the result's a goal the other way. Direwolves punished and over-eager for Forkidden, and we're once again at 1 apiece.
I know I like to say I like creativity. That might be a little bit too creative for me. Maybe not necessarily interpretive art. Let's go with something just a little bit more standard here. Forkidden going for some challenges out at midfield that have left them a little bit exposed, and Direwolves will find themselves that equalizer. But again, early in this game, I don't want to say that we're already set in stone here, because Forkidden do still look pretty strong here. I like that they're aggressive again. This is a very big difference from the games we saw previously, Formal.
Yeah, it is what we were looking to see from this is more like Game 4 for Forkidden, like Game 2 for Forkidden. I'm worried this is a very even team. Maybe that's what it is. They can only perform on those even moments, although with the Direwolves getting one back, now they're going to have to play a little bit of defense. Super Lucky gets in Misty's way. Fortunately for the Direwolves, Walcott was there to save what would have been a very embarrassing goal.
Well, that would have been unfortunate. Another bump goal in favor of Forkidden kind of really would have just been like, hey, to any team that wants to play Direwolves, just bump them. That's pretty much the way that you win against them. And, well, it's not necessarily a set in stone as we might have thought. It seems like the script is getting torn up and flipped on its head here as Direwolves starting to figure out how to defend against this physicality. With 3.5 minutes remaining, we're still all tied up. I don't think that Direwolves are completely understanding here, but the fact that they are making these necessary adaptations just goes to show you Direwolves really do want to close this one out here at 6.
I'm kind of curious where you were able to find a script, because I thought after yesterday, Yummy, Gex, and we just went through and shredded all of them with how crazy things had gotten. So if you're still trying to fall back on that, you're going to have some problems today, Bass. Anyways, Fiber has a chance. Super Lucky able to get underneath it. Misty with the follow-through will be challenged again by this defense. 3 minutes to go on the clock. Still a tied ball game. Opening for Scrub off the backboard. Super Lucky keeps it low. Fiber wasn't able to drive it far enough up the pitch, but no one wants to play off backward. Misty makes the save. Scrub always in the right spot.
It's a little bit unfortunate for the Direwolves here. This is not the greatest clear for Misty, as it just doesn't have enough power, and Scrub is going to punish. You've been talking about his positions all day, and that is a player that if you give them the little bit of space like that, they're going to take advantage. Forkidden, this is by far the best game they have shown so far.
This has been a very strong looking Forkidden side, but so too have the Direwolves found their moments. They're going to be looking for another one right about now. If they can get the ball away from Banana Head first, though. Goes for the reset, actually found it. Kind of delayed it a bit, hoping to fake out the defense. Doesn't quite work in their favor this time around. Bump on the Fiber might open the doorway for Scrub, who gets the demo, but doesn't get possession of the ball. Middle of the pitch for Forkidden. They're definitely doing a good job in getting the Direwolves to chase after them. Might open up a doorway and does. Super Lucky gets credit for the 2-goal lead.
Uh-oh, Direwolves gonna start to panic a little bit here. Forkidden seem like they have come alive. These are the pop-off plays we have been talking about. Angles like that are what Forkidden do on a regular basis when they are feeling themselves, and I think they're finally starting to get there. It's looked like we're gonna get a Game 7, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, this is definitely delivering. We kind of pegged this series as the highest probability for the upset and to be the closest that we could be seeing today, and can't get much closer than a potential Game 7. Still 2 minutes left, though. We don't want to kind of put all of our eggs in that basket just yet. Direwolves are on the attack, and if they can find a way to bring us back within 1, oh, that could very much affect that Forkidden mental, although with Banana Head up in the corner, should be able to find a pass down towards the center. Not enough power on it. Taken right back by the Direwolves. Misty has a peek. 2 defenders in the corner. Should be able to clear it, but it's cleared to the center. Direwolves not wanting to commit.
Ooh, that's a big demo, though. This should give them a little bit of extra momentum here on offense, and SD tries to center that, no such luck, and all of a sudden Banana Head is, I think, gonna get a decent clear there. It did find Walcott, but I was expecting more of a, just sort of gentle touch. Not really gonna work out in his favor. Now all of a sudden Forkidden, yep, going the other way. Crazy to see Forkidden continually punishing these little mistakes. It was one missed touch out of midfield, and everything broke down for Direwolves.
So here's the thing with the Direwolves right now. Yes, their LAN journey is not entirely in their hands, but this game is. This series is. They can't necessarily win their tickets to Sweden today, but they can lose them. And at the way how this series is going, it's going to come down to one game, Bast. It's going to come down to 5 minutes as to whether or not the Direwolves are still in it with a fighting chance. If those international dreams are still going to be alive, and right now it's the kids Forkidden. They're playing spoiler, they're playing dream killer. And as long as they hold on for 1 more minute, we're going to go to a very tense Game 7.
I want to see it, that Game 7. I want to see a Game 7 overtime here. Through 6 games of play, we haven't had a single overtime. And considering how close the series is, it is only right if we find at least one. But first, let's find ourselves that game number 7. Maybe Direwolves can find a goal for the road as well. Giving them some extra momentum would be huge.
No.
Not if Misty is shooting like that. That's far too lackluster. And when Fiber misses the follow-up, just kind of goes to show you the wind has been taken out of the sails for Direwolves in this game. It's GG go next time.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like what happened to Forkidden in the last game after 3 quick goals, you can sort of see that mirror effect in motion. Every step has been answered in kind throughout this series. Every play has had one thrown right back in the team space. It's been such an ebb and flow series. Unfortunately, just like in tennis, though, if we're going back and forth like this, it's the one who serves first who has the advantage in the end. And that might be the Direwolves, who are coming up a little bit short in this game. Misty, nice dribble, can't connect to, I believe that was Fiber underneath. Doesn't matter, it was a 0-second goal regardless. But Game 7, one team looking to build their future for the winter split. The other still thinking in the present, trying to keep their fall split alive. It doesn't get much more tense than this.
Oh, apparently Forkidden don't seem to understand that. They're still all smiles on their cameras right now. They seem to just be having a great time
They
here.
have nothing to lose.
I mean, not only that, if I was 15 years old and earning $1,800, yeah, I'd be pretty happy as well, to be honest. But the reality is here for Forkidden, not only do they have nothing to lose at this point, they really don't seem like they're going to take a loss here. That game was overwhelmingly in their favor. We said that game number 5 was all Direwolves. The fact that it turns around and goes all Forkidden in the next match, kind of telling, to be honest.
I'm so curious what is being said to the Direwolves right now. What is being communicated by Coach Vive to their squad, to this Direwolves team? It's so interesting. You have one team with nothing to lose, another team with everything to lose right now. We saw that interview. Their goal was to go up against the best of the best. They want to see themselves taking down teams like the Renegades, taking down teams like Ground Zero, finally getting over the top of Riot, who we're going to be seeing next. But instead, they're stumbling short to a team that hasn't made a top 4 in a good while, not the longest of time. It was towards the tail end of RLCSX, but still a team that's broken up and has banded back together, and well, they're building those blocks for the future. Could be a massive one set if Forkidden finds a victory. Game number 7 underway. And just like every single game so far this series, I feel like this opening goal is going to be important. Also, this is a replay. I apologize.
I was just about to mention that.
I'm too keen.
I wasn't sure if you had noticed it. I was going to let you run for as long as you could, and I was hoping we'd get a reaction from that early goal and have you just kind of go, what? And like freak out. No such luck here, unfortunately. But the good thing is that we get to really see why Forkidden were so dominant in that last matchup. We talked about this before. Space being given to Forkidden is a mistake. You can't give this much time to Super Locky in the air. You just can't.
And you can't give that much time to any members of Forkidden, but you also can't give that much time to Walcott. You also can't give that much time to Fiber. Misty, I mean, if Misty's playing well, definitely can't give too much time for that. We all remember Misty during the offseason, who was looking like the best player on the Direwolves during that period. So this is very much two teams that you never really want to give space to, and it's why the team that has been winning each of these individual games has been the one I feel that's been more willing to get physical, been more willing to drive up the pitch. Do we finally see a match where both these teams are going to fight for everything? I would certainly hope so, because it's win and you're into day 3, win and you get a top 4 finish, lose, and well, your fall split ends here.
Ooh, this is going to be an interesting game number 7 here, and I really do think that first goal is going to set the tone. Thought we might have seen it there out of Direwolves out of nowhere. Forkidden, last second save from Banana Head, is going to keep it out for now. But here we go. This back and forth that we've seen so many times has become a legendary battle at this point. And honestly, this is one of the best matchups I've seen this entire season. The fact that we're just going back and forth like this is one for the ages.
Fiber's got an opening. Scrub from above. Oh my goodness, it was there, but I feel like there is hesitation from the Direwolves young star, and that keeps it alive for now.
Keeps it alive for now, but the question is what's going to be the separating factor here? We've got such a tentative back and forth. It really does feel like we're in those scenarios where it's a defensive mistake. We've seen it a couple of times out of Direwolves here, where they just make this little error and all of a sudden Forkidden punish. I'm hoping we can see that out of Direwolves as well, because that's usually their bread and butter. To see a team kind of flip the script and do it to them, surprising to say the least.
Well, we see situations like this where a deep clear comes through, but no one from the Direwolves was realistically racing down for it now. Challenges across the middle of the pitch. It will eventually be corralled. It looks like by Misty. Scrub still trying to challenge, but one of the few times Scrub has not been in the right spot. Still doesn't give Direwolves enough momentum to cross midfield. Eventually, it's Fiber who nearly gets their. Scrub on the recovery, though, pushes it back to the orange side of the pitch.
Walcott gonna bring it out almost immediately there and give Direwolves yet another offense. This is just ping pong at this point, back and forth, sending it with heavy touches to either side. I really don't know what's gonna break here, because all of a sudden we are 2 minutes into this one in what feels like the blink of an eye, and still neither team has been able to score. And I don't think Forkidden are going to hear either. Walcott, that's a great 50-50 that's going to set up Misty. He's got time and space in the center, and we said this before. Don't give space to the Direwolves team, or they'll start to get some shots on target. That time, they will not find one, but the offense has started to build here. And Formal, we know what happens when Direwolves gets this slow burn offense going. They usually find a decent shot.
Yeah, well, they're not going to find it here. Big bump from Banana Head, that Forkidden physicality, which we saw hints of earlier in the series. Well, it's not going to work this time around either. Both teams going back to their old tricks, but both defenses making the reads in kind.
And all of a sudden, we're now halfway through this game. Still, neither team able to find a goal, but not for a lack of trying. Shots ripping off on either end. Maybe we can find one here. Super Locky up for this one. Wants the flip reset.
Nice
we'll find it. And that's a pass to Banana Head. Top right corner. Beautiful aerial play. And Forkidden will take the lead.
The kids are in position to pull this one off. Beautiful control. Super Locky to Banana Head has kind of been, well, the banana bread and butter of this team thus far. Finally, they're able to connect, and when it matters most, that go-ahead goal in Game 7, a chance to pull off yet another crazy upset during this third regional, but one that could knock the Direwolves out of Sweden. Forkidden, they could do it.
All I'm gonna say is that Regional 3 has been everything we've been hoping for here. This is the way we wanted to close out this split. Fantastic play from Forkidden here, but they're not quite out of this one yet. I was gonna say they'll need a little bit more if they want to try and take down Direwolves, but all of a sudden, Dire, no one in net, and Forkidden find their second goal.
And look at Banana Head just manhandling Walcott along that backboard. Definitely the physicality coming back into play. Exactly what we were kicking and screaming for from this Forkidden side. And the Direwolves don't have the answer when their most consistent member is being taken out of the play. 100 seconds to go. The Direwolves fighting for survival. They're going to have to find 2 quick goals right now, and we haven't even seen that much offense from them. It feels like Forkidden might have it a chance. Shut down by Super Lucky.
I'm not going to call it quite yet here. With 90 seconds remaining, there's absolutely a possibility out of Direwolves for that comeback. Like we said, they have that never say die attitude that propels them to so many victories in so many places, and I think they're going to continue with that here with about 70 seconds left. But if Forkidden find another goal, that could just be the end of this one. A 3-goal lead with a minute remaining is almost impossible to come back from. It's doable, and if any team's going to, it's going to be Direwolves, but we need a good shot from them, and we need it soon. 5 or 50-50 in front of the net is not going to lead to anything. Super Lucky takes it the other way, and not only do they clear it out of defense, they're wasting time. That Direwolves cannot afford to have go by.
Scrub will be the one who finds another deep clear, and it's only Walcott back on defense. The ball got behind them. However, Fiber and Missy were able to rotate back just at that last moment. 35 seconds to go. It's 2 goals, not 1 that's required. And possession with Forkidden. Space given to Forkidden. A shot from Forkidden, but not a goal yet. 30 seconds to go. Direwolves have to make this attack count.
They've got to find at least that first goal to just give them the momentum and propel them
to
a possible tie, but they will not. Forkidden put in the dagger, their 3rd goal here in Game 7, and they will move on to upset the Direwolves.
Forkidden are going to get it done. It appears only 17 seconds, and they're going to be 17 long seconds, but look at the faces of the Direwolves right now. They understand the gravity of the situation. They had to get it done, but the Forkidden side, they've been a coin flip. They've been inconsistent, but when they get the ball rolling, it keeps coming down. Another one this time. It's going to be Super Lucky once more, and you can see the smiles on their faces. They know they're going to their first day 3 of this RLCS season.
Congratulations to the team. I've got nothing but praise for them for the performance they put on here today. Direwolves gonna have to go back to the drawing board. There's no 2 ways about it. The fact that they had 2 games in a row where they let the other team score 4 goals goes to show that lockdown defense we're used to from them has somewhat gone out the window, and as a result, Forkidden will move on to the semifinals. They knock out the Direwolves from contention for Sweden, let alone this regional. Formal, what a series.
What a series and what a statement from this Forkidden team. Again, we don't think we're going to see them at the major. Mathematically, they have been eliminated, but when we look ahead towards that winter split, this is the type of result that you continue to build your team around. This is going to set that expectation like, you know what? We can take it to these established top 4 teams. We question whether or not Forkidden can show enough consistency to win a best of 7, yet here we are. They take down a Direwolves in 7, having to come back a couple games to do so. Hyperia, you were on the sidelines that entire time. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this one?
Told you so. That's what I'm thinking. Told you so. I knew it. I knew you've been dreading this moment. You have to face reality that my prediction was correct. But overall, it was a back and forth, and it was a bit of an odd one, really. It was... inconsistencies were showing through, and then the next game they picked it up yet again.
This was the pressure of what we're at this point, and that's why this makes this all the more surprising. For Direwolves, we knew the pressure was going to be on. When Forkidden went down in the series and all of a sudden we're a game away from elimination and the pressure built, they somehow looked their best. For a team that doesn't have a lot of experience at this level with this much pressure, props to them. They didn't look like it at all.
Well, again, it's a situation where the final hurdle is always going to be the hardest for the Direwolves. And for Forkidden, they didn't have any hurdles on their track. They were just running in a straight line. What was there for this team to lose? They've already established themselves at the status quo. The only place they could go is up. and they were in prime position to take it. So hats off to them. Now, as we look ahead towards the winner's split again, I'm going to say, you know what, maybe this team is going to have more eyes on them in the future. And realistically, with this attitude, how far can they go this time? Because all the other teams they face on that upper side of the bracket are also teams with so much pressure on their shoulders. Forkidden, they're playing on house money, and they're looking so good while doing it.
I think that they're the most consistent young squad that I've seen. A lot of teams make it into RLCS. They make a miracle run, immediately drop off, either due to the pressure or due to just not being able to live up to the consistency, to the hype they set, and they're playing phenomenal.
Just look good.
Yeah, it was a fantastic showing from that squad, and now I think it's high time we hear from them. Joining us for a wonderful talk about that quarterfinal victory, it will be Super Lucky. Congratulations on that victory. How does it feel to knock the Direwolves out of contention from making it to the major?
It feels good to win. I feel bad for knocking them out, you know, because like, you know, we could have made the major if they won. I feel bad. But you know, it feels good to win.
I mean, it's got to feel great to win at this point. It's your first top 4 appearance here in this split. Matter of fact, this season at this point. Can you just sort of talk about the progress you guys have made at this point? Because you came into this one the underdogs, and I would say, you know, the split is in general the underdogs. People very quickly noticed you guys in Regional 1. Regional 2, all of a sudden, people are talking about your names. And now, Regional 3, you get the upset win. How good does it feel to just see progress from this team every time you guys hit the pitch?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. We've mainly just been working on consistency because, you know, we can beat like majority like the top 4 teams in best of 5s or best of 3s, but when it comes to best of 7s, that's where we like usually just take the losses. So we're working on consistency, and yeah, it's paying off.
So basically, just don't play in a best of 5, and that'll work out. Lovely, you know, the same great strat. It seems to be the case a lot all around the world. That you see it in NA that people play better in a dark room. Do you feel that the same? Because you obviously have your blinds closed, and obviously why?
I don't know. It's just better. I don't know. It just feels better. Like I had my blinds open. I was playing ranked. I was playing like rubbish. I put them down for RLCS, and I play good.
Simple.
Fair call. So I'm assuming we're going to see those blinds down again tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, you're kind of in an interesting situation right now where every team you come up against from this point till the end not only would most likely be an established top 4 team, but a team with a lot of implications based on their results. Meanwhile, for you guys, fall split's kind of over and done. You're playing on house money. Is this affecting your mental moving forward, and how far can you take this run right now?
It's affected it pretty good to, you know, get the top 4, finally break out of that top 8 from this split, you know, the 2 top 8s we got. But I feel like if I stay in the dominus, we'll beat everyone and we'll win. That's all I gotta do. We'll win.
Man after my Dominus heart right there. Have to agree with you on that one again. Congratulations on the victory, Super Lucky. Maybe we'll get a chance to speak again tomorrow, but for now, have a rest up, relax, and watch the rest of the game with the boys. Or the kids, I should say.
Thanks.
Fantastic stuff, though, from Forkidden. Really well done for them. And again, they seem pretty cool, calm, and collected right there. Super Lucky. Maybe it hasn't all sunk in yet, but getting over that big hurdle, getting to their first top 4, perhaps I fear this could be the first of many as we continue on through the season.
It seems to massively help them, at least, that they don't have the pressure on them anymore. There's no view implications instead of, well, for money, of course, that's still a pretty big implication, but not, hey, you can't make major if you lose this series, which was on Direwolves, and you see the effect of it.
It's an unfortunate scenario for them. The pressure really did start to build there, and you could see the pressure at the end of that game. But to be honest, I think the pressure is going to be on a couple of the other teams we're seeing throughout the day here. We've got some underdogs still in this fight, and Formal, I think we're going to have an incredible rest of our night.
I think we absolutely are, and it's going to be starting with our very next series. The Renegades will be taking on Riot in a few minutes' time. It's going to be a fun one again. If you're a Ground Zero fan, hey, one of those 2 teams you're watching out for is gone. Maybe this could be your ticket to Sweden a little bit early. We're going to have to find out, though, after a few moments.